Hello everybody, Boyd here with you. Well, today I'm really excited to announce the beginning of a brand new build series here on our channel. This is the Fanhome Millennium Falcon, or formerly the D'Agostini Millennium Falcon. This is an awesome model kit. I want to say a big thank you to the folks at Fanhome for sending us this kit out. We're going to be doing a complete build series here on the channel for you guys, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. This is an awesome model kit. It's actually studio scale, modeled after the miniature that was used in the Empire Strikes Back, or 1/43rd scale if you want to call it that. You get these really nice parts packs and these booklets that come with your kit. We're going to talk about these here. I just want to show you this first. This is pretty neat. This is the kind of the blueprint for the Falcon itself. I'm not going to be able to get it all into the picture for you guys here, but this is the actual one-to-one size of the model as it's built up. You can see it's really large, probably like 30-something inches long and maybe 20-something inches wide, so it's going to be really fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to be doing a lot of upgrades to this model as we go along. We're going to be completely repainting it. I just want to show you the parts as they come in their packs here. The actual factory paint job, which looks like it's been kind of silk screened on here, looks pretty good. But we want to take this model to a whole new level. I want to give a couple of shout outs here at the very beginning of the video. A couple of the channels that I followed about this buildup were Models by Chris, and I'm going to put that up on the screen here for you really quick. And then also we have Kevin Ferry Models, which both of these guys did a fantastic job building these. The Models by Chris video series is the one I'm primarily going to, because Kevin actually kind of followed along with what Chris was doing over there, but he went through the very beginning of this and did a lot of upgrades, a lot of painting, and you can just take this kit to a whole nother level. There's some aftermarket parts out there available for this, which are from Falcon 3D with some really interesting lighting that we can add to the lighting that already exists in this kit, and it ties right in with the original factory lighting control board that allows you to use the remote and everything. Some extra lighting for the cockpit, some engine lighting, a lot of really cool stuff. We're going to be using some 3D printed parts to upgrade, and also some photo etch parts from Paragraphics. There's some fantastic parts available for this from them. So we're going to do a whole lot of modifying and painting and just adding to the overall experience, which even if you build this kit straight out of the box, you guys, you can have a look at some of the finished models out there. It just builds out absolutely fantastic, and most people in the hobby or the modeling community consider this the finest kit available of the Millennium Falcon. It's just a fantastic model. It's about as close as you can have to the original studio prop as you can get, with its internal metal armature to its detailed parts. They were D'Agostini, when they originally did this kit, they were allowed exclusive access to the ILM filming miniature that still exists, and so they took hundreds of photographs, measurements, talked to some of the people that worked on the original model. So it's about as close as you can possibly get. Let's take a look at these really nice booklets that come with each one of your parts pack shipments. You've got some basic history here about the Millennium Falcon itself, talking about the visit with the studio model and how they got all the information about it. Some tips about adding extra details and everything to your model. So what I really like about Fanhome is they encourage that kind of thing. It's just really, really cool to see that they're dedicated to the craft, and that you can add even more detail to what's originally there. But you can see here's a beautiful full color shot of the model. Just looks absolutely fantastic. You've got a lot of cases with your Millennium Falcon models. You have a lot of these little small detail parts, or we like to call these greelies or greebles in the modeling community. These are all separate little parts that go on to the outside of the hull, where a lot of the Millennium Falcon model kits, that's all molded in, so the detail's not nearly as crisp. But you get all these separate little parts, beautiful, accurate detail. We're going to do a really nice weathering paint job on this and bring out all the realism. Do a little bit of modifying here towards the back for these kind of engine this kind of ducted engine work back here, the cockpit, the gunner's pit, just a whole bunch of things we can do. We can do some modification to the interior as well. So it's just going to be a whole lot of fun. But you can see this is just an awesome, awesome project to work on. Now, if you sign up for the Millennium Falcon here, you get these really cool gifts that you get. You get this Falcon hat, a really nice binder to keep all your booklets in, some, a really cool Millennium Falcon mug. You've got your, this looks like a small little die cast of the Falcon that you get a little bit later on. And you have an option here to buy their stand, which either allows you to put it on a desktop in a kind of a tilted flying position, or a wall mount, which would be really cool. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to set mine up yet. I kind of want to build it with the landing gear down, but we'll just kind of cross that road when we get to it. That's a ways off here yet. But let's look at the actual parts booklets that we get for our first part shipments. This is parts packs 1 and 2. So we have parts pack 1 booklet here. The fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy. You can see it's got a lot of information here about the Falcon, and it's just an iconic ship. Here's a really early publicity shot of Harrison Ford as Han Solo. You can tell basically by his haircut there that this was really early on in the production of the first movie. So just some really interesting stuff here. Here's what the original Falcon would have looked like. The YT 1300 light freighter is what they're calling it here. So yeah, some really neat history about this. I plan on going through and reading all these as I go along. We've got some information about the Falcon's quad laser cannons. You had like a gunner's pit here with that famous scene with Luke in there fighting off the TIE fighters, and that's actually part of the assembly that we're going to be beginning with here today. Kind of some more information about that. You can see the different fields of fire they could shoot from and things like that. And then we've got a description of our parts and our packs here, along with our basic assembly guide. Here you can see some pictures of the cockpit slowly going together. And then we're assembling the laser cannons as part of today's update. These are made out of a really nice kind of a potted metal. They look really, really nice and really detailed. Okay, and then we'll take a look at the second booklet here. And these are great to collect too. There's just so much cool stuff in here. Beautiful photographs, lots of information. It'll be really cool to put these all in the binder at the end. And then here we have Han Solo's famous co-pilot, Chewbacca. Looks kind of like an early production photograph of him as well. Some information about jumping into hyperspace, evasive measures, getting away from an Imperial Star Destroyer. Really, really cool stuff. Here's some information about the Millennium Falcon cockpit. And then we're doing some assembly work here towards the end, putting the inner framework together. And also the hologram board, the little kind of game board they had in the interior area of the Falcon itself. Okay, you guys, so let's get our parts removed out of the packages here. I'm going to take a look at what we're going to be working with today, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'll be right back. All right, you guys, well, I'm back with you, and we're going to get going with the very first step in our Millennium Falcon build, and I'm really excited about this. I want to show you guys what we're starting with here. Per the instructions, we're starting with the rear cockpit bulkhead, and you can see they've got these nice little cutouts here where some lighting is going to be coming through. Now we're going to be actually replacing that a little bit later on with the Falcon 3D lighting board that actually is made to fit behind this, and it has some extra features over the original board, which has some flashing lights and different colored lights and things like that. So you'll see that a little bit further down the road. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying this printed decal here, which it's sort of a translucent, and it's made to precisely line up on these little holes here because light's going to shine through and light up some of these different instruments that are on there. So what you want to be careful with in something like this, you guys, is you want to make sure you don't get your fingerprints on any of the adhesive area on the back side of this, because what could happen is later on it could wind up starting to peel, you know, a couple years down the road where you got a little contamination on there. So you want to make sure that's going to be down on there permanent. And then make sure that the parts are clean, because whenever they mold these parts, sometimes there's leftover residue or whatever. So I went ahead and washed this, and we're ready to go here. Now, the thing that concerns me a little bit is that we're going to be putting this down, as I told you. This has to line up precisely on here, you guys. We can't miss the first time we put it down. And I'm not sure how sticky this is or how grabby it's going to be, so I'm a little worried that if I miss it a little bit and I try to peel it back up, we could either tear it or we could start, you know, degrading the adhesion. So I'm going to show you a neat little trick here for that, you guys. I've just got some simple water here with some dishwashing detergent in there. Got it pretty sudsy, and I'm just going to smear this around on the front part of our bulkhead here. Okay, so that what that's going to allow me to do is apply this decal, and we can kind of use it almost like a water slide decal. We can kind of move it around and manipulate it a little bit. And then once we get it where we like it, then we can kind of squeegee over this with our paper towel and work out the water, and then it'll just dry over, you know, the next couple of hours, and it'll all be good as new. It won't hurt the adhesive at all. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lift this off the backing now. Just like that. And I'm being really careful not to get my fingers on it. And we're going to lay it down over the top of our bulkhead here. Now we can see we can kind of move it around a little bit. Hopefully we can. Yeah, just had a little air pocket there. And get this all lined up perfectly. We want to make sure we're all centered really good. It looks like the top part there needs to come over just a tiny little bit. I'm looking at the middle part here, you guys, and I'm looking at the edges just to make sure. Just like that, you guys. It looks really nice and straight to me. Now we can kind of just take our paper towel and go over this. Just pushing out the water on the sides and everything. Just kind of take a look and make sure we're still fairly straight here. We can hold it up to the light and see that our lighting is coming through really nice on that, like it's supposed to. All right, and that's our first little step there, you guys. I'll just set that off to the side now, and we'll let that dry, and it'll all be stuck down on there really good. I'll double check it, of course, but I've used this method before, and it works really, really well. Okay, so that's a little trick that you can use to kind of help you out with that. All right, so we'll set that off to the side, take a quick little break, and get more parts out here and go to work. I think we're building the laser cannons next. Be right back. Up next, we're going to be assembling the dorsal laser cannon assembly. So just following along with our guide here, we can see we've got this kind of pivot point here part, and we've got these two little brackets. Now they're very specific about how this goes together, so we're kind of orient the part kind of in this fashion right here, and we're putting on the inner bracket just like this. Now you can see that there's a little tab right there, and that little notch and that little shape down on the bottom. This is the way you want to orient it, just like that. So they're the same on both sides. We're going to put it together just like this. This is basically the pivot point, it looks like. Okay. Going to kind of have to hold this together with your fingers. So we got it like that. And then we're going to be putting the lower laser cannon assembly in there. So let's see if we can figure this out. That's the top because the detail is going to be hidden. You can see there are no screw holes in the top, so that's the top one. We're going to be coming in like this. And these little brackets are supposed to line up on top of these little tabs right here, just like that. Okay. And then we've got to bring the upper one in over the top of all this. It says to double check and make sure the gun barrels are equal, so they are. Our pivot's working here. All right, now we're going to turn this over. And we're going to put one screw in the front. And they're asking you to tighten this down, but not tighten it all the way just yet, you guys. There must be a reason for later on they're not wanting you to have this completely tight yet. Okay, so we'll just kind of go a little ways there. All right, now we've got two more screws that need to go into the back half. Same thing, they don't want you to tighten these all the way. So we'll just back off about a half a turn there. Okay, we'll kind of check our bracket here. Yep, everything's looking good. Okay, and let's see if there's anything else. Oh, we're looking good there, you guys. So we have one screw left over. So here's the little detail. You can see these are really cool looking. This is all, of course, going to get painted later on. Primed and painted. But so that completes that little step. So it looks like next, as far as assembly goes, I'm going to open parts pack number 2, and we're going to be assembling some of the inner framework pieces. We'll set up for that and come right back, everybody. All right, everybody, we're back with our next segment here, and we're going to be working on, this is parts pack number 2 here. We're going to be working on our inner framework assembly. So we've got to line these parts up the way they show in this instruction booklet here. Now I'm finding, you guys, looking at this, that the pictures are all well and good. They give you an up-close shot of putting everything together, but in some of the pictures the parts are sort of cut off. So I'm finding that this little kind of drawn diagram up here at the top is working better for me as far as figuring out how to get all the parts oriented the right way and where these brackets actually go that connect the one part to the next, and how many screws we're going to use. So I'm going to be kind of going by that. So looking at this first little part here, you can see we've got this little frame part right here. It's got these two tabs. You can see that those are supposed to be facing down. Then we've got this kind of arch assembly that goes here. This is going to connect to this, something like that. And we can see that looking at that, you've got this little hole right here, this little hole right here to kind of identify it. All right, so we're going to flip this over and we're going to connect this piece together. Now they want you to use a you've got these different kind of brackets here. You got one with 4 holes and one with 2 holes. So we're going to be going with the 2-hole one here towards the bottom first. And we've got these tiny little screws that need to go in there. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. Got my little magnetic screwdriver here. And at first, when you start working with these, you guys, you're going to find that the working with these little screws is kind of fiddly, you know, but after a little while, you'll get used to it and you'll start being able to handle them a lot better and, you know, keep from dropping them and stuff like that. It just takes a little while to get into the swing of it. All right, so we got that one going down. And now what I'm doing here is I'm not tightening these all the way just yet, okay? I want to make sure I get the bracket can move a little bit so it can kind of line itself up. These holes in this framework are already pre-tapped, which is nice. So you don't have to put a lot of pressure on them to get the screws to go in. Okay, we're going to get it over the top of this hole right here. Get that one started. And then just kind of work it into place here as we tighten it down. Again, I'm not going to completely tighten these all up yet. You can see the bracket needs to move a little bit. Now at the top here, they want you to do the 4-hole because apparently there's another part that's going to be adjacent to that. It's going to connect down to it later, so we'll go ahead and do that. Leave that a little bit loose again. And then we're looking at the other part of this coming in here kind of like this. Okay, so we're going to kind of flip that over. And in the bottom notch there, you can see it's got these two little notches right here. They want you to use the two hole bracket. Okay. Get this started. Okay, just going to leave that a little bit loose. Then up at the top, they want a 4-hole bracket again. Okay, so that's exactly what we'll do. That. Okay, then we're coming over here to this last one, and we're doing the same thing. We're going to be doing a 2-hole on the bottom, it looks like, and a 4-hole at the top. This is going along pretty quickly. Oops, we want to go to this one. Okay. Again, just kind of leaving those loose so we can move our part around a little bit. And we're going to finish up with a 4-hole at the top here. And you get a couple of extra screws. So I recommend you get like one of those pill holder, the little plastic pill holder compartments. It has, you know, multiple little compartments that you can open the lids, store your extra screws and little parts that you might be using later on. One of the things about these parts order kits is that oftentimes you get parts you're not going to use until down the road a little bit further. Okay, so you can kind of hang on to your parts like that, and all your other unused parts, I like to just put them back in the shipping container that they came in. So now what I'm doing, you guys, I'm going back and tightening all these down really good. Okay, since we know we're all kind of locked in place there. We may have to, on these ones where there's going to be adjacent parts, we may have to re-loosen those again. To get the other holes to line up, but we'll just kind of see how that goes when we get to that step. All right. I think I'll just snug these top ones up here just a little bit. Okay, so there's our basic assembly, you guys. This is really nice. Like I said, just like the full-size filming miniature, it had a metal support armature on the inside with styrene plastic shell on the outside. So this is about as close as you can get to the real deal, you guys. This is going to be absolutely awesome when it's done. I can't wait to see it taking shape, and you know, this is going to be a lot of fun. Okay, guys, we've got one little segment here left over in the parts 2 assembly. We'll go ahead and put this off to the side, and that is we're going to be doing more decal work. We're going to be putting on the I've already actually done this little part right here. You got a little sticker that goes on your little game board here that was located in the interior, the Millennium Falcon's galley, I think you call that area. And they talk about the positioning of that. You want these 2 black edges to line up with the indents on each side of the table itself, so that's what I went ahead and did. I used a little bit more of our soap and water. That way I got it on there nice and centered. Then I got it all squeegeed out. It's been drying for a little while, and you can see it's on there permanently. So that method works really good, you guys. This is all dry now, and it's all nice and straight, and it's not going anywhere, okay? So I'm going to gather up the parts. It's actually the forward part of the cockpit area, the kind of console there. We got to apply that decal, and then that'll be a wrap for our Parts 1 and Parts Pack 2 assembly. Be right back. Okay, so we're back with the final steps of our first session here, and we've got the decal ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of our soapy water on this again. Just like before. You can see that there's some small little holes there in the center of the console that are obviously for some light to come through a little bit later on. You can see the corresponding holes in the decal there, so we just want to make sure. Now this looks like it has to have a little bit of a bend to it. So we're going to get this down on there. Yeah, with our soap water on there this time, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get that to stick, but I just want to, I'm going to hold this up to my light a little bit here and make sure that our holes are in the right place for the decal. It looks like it's got to slide down just a tiny little bit. I want to make sure all those are allowing light to come through. I can see 3 of them. Yeah, there we go. We've got all 4 of them now. Okay. And then I'll just let that sit on there for a little bit, you guys, and as it starts drying or whatever, I'll kind of squeegee it out like I've done before, and it'll eventually start sticking right down on there nice and flat for us, okay? So, but that's the general idea. If you don't want to do the soap water thing on that one, you don't have to, but like I said, you want to make really sure that you get those holes lined up and everything is centered. And, you know, without using the soap, if you stick it down on there, if you're a little crooked, you're going to have a hard time reworking that. But this will all work out in the end. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed our session here, you guys. I'm having a lot of fun with this so far. As I said, I hope you guys will tune in and check out the whole build series. It's going to take quite a while. It's going to take about a year because I think we're going to be getting 4 of these parts packs per month. And so I'll update you every time we get a new shipment of parts in. And we'll just kind of work our way along. It would probably take me about a year to build something like this if I was building this model anyways, you guys. A studio scale Millennium Falcon with lighting and full interior and all the paint work and all the aftermarket stuff we're going to be doing. So it works out about the same to me. I'm not, you know, I don't mind the waiting for the parts to come at all. I want to mention too that DeAugustini has a ironclad reputation out there as far as they've never gone out of business. They've always gotten the parts, you know. Everyone had trouble during the worldwide virus thing, but it's all been, you know, everything's been coming back, and I kind of looked around out in the community out there, and people that are working on these aren't having any trouble getting their parts at all. Just in case you had any questions about that. But if you have any questions about any of this, guys, feel free to drop comments in the comment section below, and I look forward to hearing your input. And we'll see you for the next one, you guys. Take care out there, and happy modeling, everyone.